This is 5 on your side at 4. Focused on you.
After months of legal battles and controversy, St. Louis has a new circuit attorney. Governor Mike Parson made the announcement just a few hours ago that Gabe Gore will be the city's next top prosecutor. Thanks so much for being here at noon. I'm Kay Quinn.
And I'm Brent Solomon. Tonight we have team coverage for you. Our political editor Mark Maxwell is capturing reaction from leaders all across our area. But first, we head out to Christine Byers, who has been covering this story from the very beginning. She's live downtown now. Tell us more about the new circuit attorney, Christine.
Brent, Gabe Gore is a partner with the Dowd Bennett law firm. It's one of the most highly influential, politically connected law firms in the entire state. And it has a bitter history with Kim Gardner. Now it's sending in the guy to replace her. Governor Mike Parson announced his pick outside the circuit attorney's office, surrounded by several local leaders. The mayor, attorney general, U.S. attorney, and law enforcement leaders stood alongside him. Symbolic, Gore says, of the relationships he hopes to rebuild in his new role. I asked Gore how he plans to put the interests of the public above the high-profile, politically connected colleagues and clients he's leaving behind. The governor chimed in on that question, too.
You can look at the things that I've done in service of the community, and you won't find any connection to me pursuing anything other than things that I thought were important for the community. That's what I'm doing here. That is my only goal and focus in pursuing this. And I think that my work will speak for itself.
And I think a good question you asked, because one of the things that I had to consider too is, yes, he is definitely with a well-respected, high-profile law firm. To give up that and to be able to do this says a lot for the character of somebody that he's put in the city of St. Louis before a high-profile law firm and money.
Gore says his top priorities are hiring staff and rebuilding relationships that he thinks are needed to make the office successful. He plans to resign from the Dowd Bennett law firm next Friday and will be sworn in on May 29th. Until then, the governor's general counsel will be serving as the interim circuit attorney, with AG attorney assistants helping him along the way. Until then, live outside the courthouse in downtown St. Louis, Christine Byers. 5 on your side.
All right, Christine, thanks. Gabe Gore takes over as the city's top prosecutor at a high watermark in the backlog of cases and at a low point in staff morale. And that position will be up for election next year. So will Gabe Gore return to keep the seat? 5 on your side, political editor Mark Maxwell with more on that. Mark.
Brent, imagine the storylines. A judge already described that office as a rudderless ship of chaos. Kim Gardner herself described it as a sinking ship in the Titanic. Well, he's the captain now. If he can turn things around in short order, he'll have quite the story to tell voters. And right now, the political winds are at his back. That's not merely a sentiment or a series of statements. Politicians of every stripe and every party were packed into that room today, celebrating his appointment and offering their support. It seemed Kim Gardner's last act was a near miracle, uniting bitterly divided political factions behind this cause of justice in a city racked by violent crime. Mayor Jones and faith leaders had said they wanted a caretaker for this role, not a candidate. But now that he's on his way in, they appear open to him staying a while.
The question of whether I'll run or not is something I'll consider.
Could you see yourself voting for him for a full term?
Yes, absolutely. Gabe Gore is a true public servant.
I think he should consider a run for office once, but right now, as he said, he's going to leave that decision off to the future, but clearly he'd be a good leading candidate.
Between now and then, other candidates who want that job will be watching very closely. Progressive candidate David Mueller among them. He said he'll judge Gore by how many defendants get their day in court or remain in jail waiting for it. St. Louis County Circuit Attorney Wesley Bell said attorneys in his office are standing by, ready to offer assistance to start restoring that constitutional right to a speedy trial.
Mark Maxwell reporting for us. There are new developments tonight about a road rage case in Chesterfield. Close friends of the man beaten in the parking lot of a Deerbergs tell us he died last night. He was in his 70s. Someone beat him at the store on Olive and Woods Mill Wednesday night. We're told that driver stayed at the scene. No word on charges.
Let's take a live look at Busch Stadium now. The Cardinals take on the Dodgers again tonight after winning 16-8 last night. Could be a rainy day at the ballpark, rainy evening. Let's head over to Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell. He's tracking the timeline.
Well, and that sky has become a little bit darker around St. Louis right now as we're starting to see some showers pop up. The cool front sliding through, so temperatures are definitely dropping off. There's a look out into St. Charles County. Not a whole lot of rain across most of the metro area, but you do notice just how hazy it is out there. Some of that wildfire smoke may very well be working its way to the ground right behind this front. Don't expect it to hang around very long, though. As you're looking across the region, here's our latest weather first Doppler radar. Again, out towards Wildwood, approaching eastern portions of Chesterfield, as well as the Manchester and Baldwin areas. You've got some showers. They'll slide northeast towards Maryland Heights. A little bit stronger action farther south and east of St. Louis, developing where it's still warm, right out ahead of that front. Much of that band of rain that's back to the north and west isn't really reaching the ground. So as this front continues to settle onto the south, we will see some scattered showers around. You know, there may be a rain delay at Busch Stadium this evening, but the bottom line is they'll get that game in as any heavier rain quickly shifts away from the St. Louis area through the evening hours. So scattered evening showers, dry, refreshing weekend is on the way with rather cool mornings. More on that in a few minutes, Brent.
All right, we'll see you then, Scott. Well, a fundraiser will soon be underway for Herman Officer Adam Sullentrop, who is still recovering. He suffered a traumatic brain injury after someone shot him in March. Detective Sergeant Mason Griffith died in that shooting. Tomorrow you can help support Officer Sullentrop's family. A barbecue fundraiser will happen at Eureka Pacific Elks Lodge at 11 a.m. There will be dinner, a cash bar, and a silent auction. All proceeds will help with Sullentrop's medical expenses.
Short-term rentals could soon face restrictions in St. Charles. This week, the St. Charles City Council approved a one-year moratorium on new residential permits. This would apply to rentals of 30 days or less. If approved by the mayor, it would go into effect in mid-June. Similar regulations are being considered in St. Louis. The city's planning commission approved a plan for limits on short-term rentals just last week. It's now on its way to the St. Louis Board of Aldermen.
And we have much more still ahead. Empowerment Week coming to a big close at Better Family Life. The expo giving St. Louisans a chance to build careers.
If you're used to visiting the City Hall DMV, time to find a new one. Why this location shut its doors for good.
And she's the first female mayor of Belleville, Illinois. How she describes the state of the city 2 years into her term.
The Schnucks Folds of Honor campaign is running right through May 30th. You can round up at the register or use Scan to Give coupons at any Schnucks store. Money goes to scholarships for families of fallen or wounded service members and first responders. Five on Your Side is a proud sponsor of that campaign.